A new movement, God, you are doing it. You are rising people up. And this is going to go all over the world. Life is a journey. With God, it is an adventure. My name is Torben Søndergaard. I grew up without knowing God. But in 1995, I heard the gospel of Jesus for the first time. I saw that I was a sinner and I turned away from my sin. I got baptized to Jesus and I received the Holy Spirit. Since then, I had a desire to know God even more and to live the life as a true disciple of Jesus, like we read it in the Bible. I wanted to serve Him, and I started to share the gospel of Jesus and to make disciples. First in my own city, then in my country, and now it's all over the world. Welcome!
Hey!
Back to Brazil.
Bro.
Are you ready for it?
Of course I'm ready for it.
I hope this movie will help you to see what the Christian life really is about.
You have a good coffee, you are in other place, you will give vacation.
Now we are going to Brazil
Go to Brazil.
to preach about Jesus, pray for sick people, cast out demons. It is about sharing the gospel of Jesus in word and power. And it is about making disciples. Are you ready? Sound on? Yes. Hey guys,
Hey.
we're in Amsterdam Airport now on the way to Brazil. Do you look forward to it?
I couldn't wait.
We were there just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And how was it?
Life changing. It's like insane. People there are so open and so aware of this. You can just go on the streets and just everything happens. Demons are casted out. People are filled with the Holy Spirit, baptized, just as you walk by. It's crazy.
God is just doing so many things people don't see. And therefore we got the idea, let's do a movie. Let's do a movie about this. Well, we want to invite you. We invited everybody of you to join us on this trip.
You have to see it. You have to see it.
I hope you have your passport ready. And here we have our friends who are with us already filming. We have Robert here.
Hi.
Do you look forward to it?
Yes, very much. Yeah.
So Robert is going to be there all the time and he's going to film with this. And we have Joshua from France.
Hey.
It's first time you're joining us on a trip.
Yes, so exciting.
How is it to be here?
Amazing, so thankful.
So it's going to be good. So they are part of the team and we are going to meet with other people down in Brazil and it's going to be amazing. So keep in touch and we will come with a lot of more testimonies later. Pussy It's always, every time we have a Kickstarter weekend, there's always coming something in. It's just frustrating. It's like, but it's every time. You almost know it now. When you have a Kickstarter weekend, when you're going on a trip, something is just coming. And it also came this time. Mail where people want to discuss. This is a Christian I knew many years ago who just came with a lot of things where, critic against what I do and how I do it and so on and so on. And
Yeah. And now 3 more hours for car.
yeah, hi. I can see you. Hi. morning or good evening, or I don't know what time of the day it is right now. I think it's around 5 o'clock Brazilian time. We have just arrived to Campina Grande after a long trip. I started 28 hours ago in Denmark. So it has been a long trip, but now we are in Brazil. Now we are in Campina Grande, where we are going to have a Kickstart with around 1,000 people this weekend, and it's going to be amazing. Morning. I got some good night's sleep now. 4 hours, 3 hours. It's really warm. It's going to be a cap and sun cream the rest of the time. Sunglasses. Look forward to see what will happen and see how the Holy Spirit is leading. So I just take like a morning prayer before we are going to start the day, and just to get your force up and say, God, here we are. What now? What do you want, God? We are here. It's going to be good. So I say, what is your name again? Renato. Renato. Renato, he translated the books we have to Portuguese. 2 of the books.
I never spoke it all.
Not yet. Okay. No.
I don't know what happened with me, but we both.
Yeah.
We tried to. We are looking for, but didn't happen.
Come here. Well, I will pray for you, and if I say now, just open your mouth and just say the first words and see what happens. Can you do that?
Podemos começar a dizer que
Então,
você abre a boca e deixa as palavras saírem.
Say after me, God. I come to you. I repent. And I ask you.
Eu arrependo.
I ask you.
Eu te peço.
Set me free.
Me liberte.
Come with your Holy Spirit.
Vem com o teu Espírito Santo.
Fill me up
Me preenche.
right now. Freedom. More, there's freedom. There's freedom. There's freedom inside. There's healing right now. There's healing inside of you. Oh, the reason we want to do a movie like this is because often you don't see all of this. This is not prepared. This is just something that happened, and it's happening all the time. It's happening where it's not prepared, but we just do it, and that is beautiful, and love it. Oh, det var så godt. Oh. How was it? Oh, God bless you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let it go. Let it go. All fear, come out. Oh, you have it. Oh, my friend. Oh, come on. Well, now you have it. Use it. Let it out. And if fear is coming, just speak, and suddenly it will just become stronger and stronger and build you up and take you places where you have never thought. It's always good to pray for people before breakfast. So guys, we are going to see the venue where we're going to have the meeting this weekend, just to see the place and prepare in our mind for what is going to happen. And then we are going to see the city, the surroundings here, and then we're going to go home and have a leadership meeting afterwards. Some of the pastor leaders who have been in this network would like to talk a little, and then we have an open air tonight. So we can. But then we have this aisle, and we have the middle where people can stand. It's going to be warm in here. It's an open room somehow. There is no air condition, and there will be
when there'll be most people. There'll be about 1,000 people in here, so it's going to be good. So we look forward to that. Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, can everybody hear me? I don't need any mic. Is it possible to go to a center and place and sit down and just get something to drink and an ice cream?
Yeah.
I like an ice cream. Okay, but there's some leaders from El Salvador and priests from other places who came in, so we're going to have a leader meeting. They want us to pray for the mother-in-law. I don't know what it's all about. Okay, but we'll just pray for you. Some of you, Fabian and me, who want prayer, and then we can go and sit and talk afterwards. Okay. Who want prayer of those who's near? Okay, what is it? Do you not lift it? Or?
Okay, her arms,
okay, so she can lift it to here. Right now we command all pain to go, and we speak strength to the shoulder. Healing right now in the name of Jesus. Try to lift it up, try to lift it up. Up. Hey! Hallelujah! This is what God is doing.
She has a lot of pain in her knees. In the arms, she has arthritis on both arms.
Okay. Feel like command all sickness to go. Try to walk. Freedom, 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 freedom. Good. Move. Is it gone? It's gone. This is what I like. Again, just happen, and she's going in there and doing like this and can move her body for the first time in many years. Freedom, 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 freedom. If you like, come out! Go, 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 go right now! Go, go right now! What's she saying? Just speaking, these are tongues, hallelujah, come on. She has never spoken tongues before. It's a family member who was not born again yet. The Holy Spirit just came and she's laying and shouting songs, and it's new for her. And the family is standing there and look at it. I love it. Can you help her? Oh, Shilabada. Are you filming? Welcome to Kingdom of God in Campina Grande. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Hello, can you hear me? How is the sound? Is the sound on? We are ready to go! Let's go!
Wednesday evening, first day here in Brazil. And we just want to go out and do some open air and see what God is doing. So we wrote on Facebook that we will meet down here, and I know the church have said to some of the young people and other people that we meet down here. So we go down and we expect there to be some Christians already, and then we will start to see if there's anybody of them who need healing or need the Holy Spirit, who are not baptized with the Holy Spirit, and we will of course start with our own people first, the Christians, and pray for them. Hello. You speak English? Okay, everybody. Hey, hello.
Olá, pessoal.
Just come closer.
Olha aqui pra mim agora.
Of you here who do not speak in tongues, who have sickness in your body, what is wrong with you? Do you speak in tongues?
Você fala em línguas?
No. I baptize in water.
Vai batizada na água.
And do you know the fear you have that long time?
Você sabe há quanto tempo tem esse medo? Há muito tempo. A very long time.
Close your eyes.
Feche seus olhos.
Just pray, God.
E ore comigo, Deus.
I come to you.
Eu venho até ti.
I repent.
Eu me arrependo.
And I ask you.
E te peço.
Set me free.
Me liberte.
Come, Jesus.
Venha, Jesus.
Save me.
Me salve.
Come on. Oh, Hallelujah. How are you? A new beginning.
É um novo começo.
And now you had to start to renew your mind. You had to know you are free now. It's a new life.
Você está livre para começar a
And that helps you build up yourself by speaking in tongues.
Fluido para
Come on, guys, it's good. Amazing to be out here. Okay, guys,
Ok.
I want to say something to you,
Dizer alguma coisa para você.
to everyone.
Para todo mundo.
Where Jesus is alive,
Que Jesus está vivo.
He wants to do something new.
Ele quer fazer alguma coisa nova.
But it's not new.
Mas não.
It's the thing we have always read in the Bible.
É uma coisa, a coisa que a gente já leu na Bíblia.
In the Bible, we read about the early disciples, how they are walking around telling the gospel, healing the sick and casting out demons.
Expulsando demônios e curando.
But guys, this is what I love. We have been out here and you see the group have grown to 80, 100 people. We have been preaching, praying, preaching, praying, preaching, praying. A lot of people got healed, a lot of people got set free. Many got baptized with the Holy Spirit. When I became a Christian many years ago, I remember I went to open air meeting, and to be honest, I did not like it. People were standing with balloons and we was ashamed of it, and people looking at us like we were crazy. But now it's powerful. It's praying for people. It's casting out demons. People was falling down and set free from demons in the middle of the street. And there was people who was walking around who did not know about that. And this is what we see in the book of Acts, because in the book of Acts, they did not hide it. They were not afraid of it. If you see in the book of Acts and what Jesus did, healing was public, deliverance was public. Joshua, it's first time you're with us out.
Yes.
And now you are filming tonight. How was it to film all of this close up and see it through so close?
It's hard to have word for this, but I felt the presence of God all along, and it was so powerful, and it just gave me the desire for more in my life also, you know.
So it have been good. It have been amazing. Love it. Feel tired in my body. I think we all feel tired. We slept like 4 or 5 hours yesterday all together, and jet lag and so on. But at the same time, you get energy by this. I love it. But there came some people who need healing and they would like us to pray for the family, so just let's do that. Yeah. In the name of Jesus, I command this cancer to go. I command this sickness to go right now. Straight into your body right now in the name of Jesus. I command this spirit of death to go. Speak your life. Your life. Your life. And everything. Live. You are clean now.
Tá com agora?
Freedom, 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 freedom. Thank you for freedom. In the name of Jesus to the body.
Sente dor ainda? Não gostei.
This is Puma. That I can see. This is not a fake. I bought it in South Africa for $1 when I was there, or $2. So it must be real. Where are we going?
much. We actually don't know so much, but I think there was a pastor's wife who was sick. And
I think it's the mother. So she has a lot of pain, and she's been for 2 years laying in bed.
Do you live here? Your house? Okay. So you have pain now? You have pain now?
Tem dor agora? A senhora tem dor?
Tá com dor, tia Dorinha? Tá com dor agora?
Dói direto agora.
Dói de tempo inteiro.
Just put hands on her and we pray. Yeah. Well, just close your eyes.
Fecha os olhos.
And we pray.
Fecha os olhos.
God, we speak life and freedom. Freedom. Go right now. Go right now. Go right now in the name of Jesus. We speak to every Come out, spirit of deafness. Come out, spirit of pain. Come out right now. We speak life. Holy Spirit, come. We command freedom. We command healing. We command all pain to go right now in the name of Jesus. God, set them free. Just ask and then pray again. How does she feel it? Can you ask if she feels something?
Como a senhora está se sentindo? Passou a dor? Tia Dorinha, passou a dor?
Melhorou.
A little bit.
It's better.
Better, okay, pray again. Shila da da da, just pray again. Shila ba de de, freedom, freedom, life and go. Fill up more. How is it now? Now the pain is gone. For first time 2 years, you can move, so you don't have any pain.
Tá se sentindo bem?
Tô me sentindo bem feliz.
Tá se sentindo bem, happy.
God bless you. There was a family who came to faith short time ago in this area. It's one of the poorest area in the city, and a whole family came to faith, and other people came to faith and got baptized. We just went there to pray for people, talk with people, and see what God is going to do.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a nice thing because they used to baptize people and they didn't see the power of the Holy Spirit. But after watching the videos and everything, they did it again and they received the Holy Spirit when they were baptized.
Yeah. So it's good. So it's spreading. It started with one family and then it was one more. So there's like a lot of families, a lot of people around here. And and we see what God is doing. What about who of you? Anybody of you who have sickness? Pain in your body? Okay, that's right.
She was talking
Tongues? Okay, do you need healing or freedom?
que é alguma liberdade, está preso em alguma coisa.
Let go. Let go. Ba do cos la ba da casca sala da oh ma da casca sala da casca sala I just very sure what is happening now is that I prayed for a woman before, older woman, and she really met God, and she's like the mom of this family, is a big family and friends. She went to a church a time ago and said, can you pray for my family? And somebody got a word for her and said, God is going to send an army to your family to bless your family. And she felt it so strong 30 days ago, and she had been waiting, and today they just saw that we came in as an army to bless the family that the God was prophesied 30 days ago. So people are so excited here. Hallelujah. Love it. It's so beautiful. The Holy Spirit is working. I love it. God, we thank you, God.
Deus, nós te agradecemos.
Oh, God, we pray for freedom.
Oramos por liberdade.
Thank you for your healing.
Pela tua cura.
We thank you from your life. I don't remember so often when I experienced so many strong, different things in one day. We went out to pray for a woman, one of the pastor leaders, his mother-in-law, she was laying in a bed. She had been laying in a bed for 2 years. And we went out there and talked and prayed, and then short time later we heard from them that now she was up. She was now up of the bed, she was now sitting in a wheelchair, and she could now move her body much more. And they were so amazed, and so many people say, hey, we have just heard that, and it became a big rumor for everyone that woman had been laying in bed for 2 years and now she's up. And then after that, we went to a family. It was just incredible. A family who had met God short time ago, got baptized in a very, very, very poor area. And we saw one by one got healed, got set free, received the Holy Spirit. So many people there got baptized with the Holy Spirit. It was just like so beautiful. But it did not finish there, because after that we went to the street, to the middle of the street, where there was a lot of people, and so many more just got baptized with the Holy Spirit and got healed and got set free. And there was so many amazing stories to tell from the street. And it was just the third day of this 7 days adventure with God, and tomorrow the Kickstart is going to start with 1,000 people, and it's just going to be amazing. So a new day, and now it's time for bed. So see you tomorrow. Bye bye. Hey, good morning. Friday morning. The Kickstart weekend is going to start today. It has been amazing days until now. Feel a little tired in my body still, but I'm good. I'm ready for it. And a weekend like this is going to be really full on. We give everything we have, so Sunday evening we are so tired because we are here to serve, and then we can sleep later and rest later. So I just want to go for a little walk and just pray and get some air and think about what God is doing, and I like doing that. So yeah, ready to go.
Getting really good at this.
Yeah, I'm a technical guy here. Like this, undercover.
Yes. So it's going to be good. So I think today maybe there comes. Normally Friday, there's not coming so many because people are still working. So I think 700 today, and then tomorrow 900, 1,000 people will be signed up. So we will see what God is doing, but it's going to be good. And we had some amazing days until now. What we like with the days we have was that we also wanted to show you in the 7 days adventure with God we are doing that it's not about the meetings. You can have a life that is like an adventure with God without having organized big meetings. Now we are starting with the big meetings, but already now, before the big meetings is starting, already now before the big meetings start, we have had people coming to our house. We have been in people's houses, and we have been on the street, and a lot of things have already happened. And this is something everybody can do. Everybody can have people come to their house and preach and heal and cast out demons and baptize with the Spirit and so on. Everybody can go to other people's houses, and everyone can go out on the street. And there we don't need to have a big event and an invitation to be able to do it. And I think the problem that many people are waiting for invitation. I heard somebody said last time we were here, like, I dream about, I think God had called me to be a missionary. And then my friend Fabian, he heard it, he said, okay, what are you doing? Nothing, but I believe God had called me to be a missionary. But what are you doing? Nothing, I'm waiting to be a missionary. Don't wait. Start now. Start with what you have. Start with people around you. You don't have to wait for invitation. You don't have to wait to be a missionary.
Good seeing you.
to meet you, man.
And this is family?
Yes, this is actually a son of a friend of ours.
Oh, okay. He came to Denmark. When did you come to Denmark?
September 2015.
On a PTS?
Yes.
Yeah, and it
Kickstart, yes.
Kickstart, it became amazing.
That's correct.
And he's now doing our app for the last Reformation.
Correct, yes.
And it's going good with the app.
Yes, it's very cool.
And then you have done the Brazilian website.
Yes, clrbrazil.com.
How is it growing now?
Yes, it's exploding actually. When I started was kind of alone, but now we have this group, we have other people there in Brasilia, and everything's going too fast actually.
And I know after he got Kickstart, he went home and Kickstarted his brother.
Yes.
And it's a new life.
New life, yeah.
How is it now? You just live it?
Yes, we are just living it because we realized how we already had that, but we didn't know it. But now we are doing it every day, and then we see everything growing very fast.
Spread. Nice. Hi.
Morning.
Are you ready?
Let's go.
Why do you have so much clothes on? No, well, I needed to do like this, otherwise I'm going to sweat too much.
I'm going to sweat a lot. I actually asked somewhere what kind of clothes I should use.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're ready for a good weekend. We have already had some amazing days here in this city. The last 2 days, God has done so much. And I want to say from the beginning is what we want to see. That this is a life. That this is a disciple life. He's our friend. He was at the last Kickstart 3 weeks ago. How was it?
No, it's the first and the second one.
No, yeah, both. How was it?
Amazing. A lot of stuff happened and incredible. I just met someone at the airport and they gave me a ride. And the guy had a back problem and I prayed for him to got healed. And they got to give me a ride. So it's just God linking us together.
It is. Now I'm going to go to the practical part where I will take people up and show how we pray for people with healing, with casting out demons, and with baptism with the Holy Spirit. So I will take some people up and show them how to do it and kickstart somebody in front of everyone. And then when I've done that, I will let everyone pray for everyone. Fill me up.
Yeah.
Baptize me.
Baptize me.
Right now.
Right now.
Louder. Speak. Shila da 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 Shila ba da 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 Kaskasala ba da 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 Kaskasala da 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 da. So now I pray for the day. Então agora vou orar pelas costas. And the command on page go right now. Eu mando essa dor embora agora. I don't just focus on the bones. I don't focus on what is happening. Eu não foco nos ossos. Eu foco no. I just pray. Pain go. Eu só oro, dor, vai embora, seja curado. And then you get them to test it. E depois eu peço a testar. How is it? Now it's chaos time. We have just been doing the practical part. I'm shown how to heal the sick, cast out demons, baptize people with the Holy Spirit. And then now everybody needs to get involved in praying for people. And it's always chaos in a room with so little space and so many people. So
how are you?
She's fine.
How is it?
She's 14.
She was shaking before. This is so beautiful. I prayed for her. She came to me. Her mom had Parkinson, was shaking. She tried to come up with her, but I could see it was too hard for you to stand. And she was shaking, so I said, not now. She came and wanted prayer. I prayed for her for the Holy Spirit. When she left, she saw her mom and she was healed. And she started speaking tongues at the same moment. How was it?
Both was healed at the same time.
The same time. Hallelujah.
Thanks God, I feel overwhelmed. I can't stop to thank you God for everything.
A new life. We have 30, tomorrow get baptized.
E aí, ela...
Did you have it? Okay, right. It's easier if you start with the... Look, wife, I took salad. But now you got like today it was. This is what we are doing. So, and I think in the message it's so important to really deal with discipleship. To get that understanding of discipleship, because people always think that they cannot do it, and other people are more gifted than they are. There's not everybody who's a super evangelist, but everybody can share the gospel.
Mas todo mundo pode espalhar o evangelho.
Everybody can lead people to Christ.
Pode ir vendo.
I feel in many ways like we have found it. Like. I know there's other people who also don't, but I believe this is the simple discipleship, what it's all about. It's not our idea. It's really Jesus' idea. Because for them to take that first step is greater miracles than that woman with Parkinson. They will remember that more.
Porque para dar esse passo é quase milagre mesmo.
Yeah. So for me, for them, if I have a woman coming to me who has pain in the back,
Então, teve uma mulher que veio até mim com dor nas costas.
if I pray for her,
E se eu orasse por ela,
she can get healed.
ela seria curada.
But I've seen that so many
Mas
times,
eu já vi isso tantas vezes.
and I will not remember it in a half year.
E eu não lembro, sei lá, em 6 meses.
But what I could do
Mas o que eu poderia fazer
is say, hey, can you pray?
e dizer para você pode orar.
Like, she has been my translator.
Eu estou sendo a tradutora.
She has seen a lot of things close on the last
Eu
days.
vejo muitas coisas perto, assim. Eu vejo muitas coisas perto.
Yesterday we saw great miracles,
E ontem a gente viu muitos milagres.
but she came to me.
E eu vim até ele.
Oh, I prayed for one who got healed.
Fui lá e disse, eu orei por uma e ela foi curada.
And like yesterday, she was like, before you were going to bed, like praying, and like, what is happening? Yeah.
Eu tava, quando antes de dormir, eu tava orando assim, ele eu tava meio que assim, meu Deus, o que tá acontecendo?
Oh, and this is because this is what the strongest miracles is not what we see other people do. The strongest is what people do themselves.
Porque o que tá errado não é apenas
Yeah. And this is where the fire starts to burn.
Isso é quando o fogo começa a queimar.
This is where the life come again.
Isso é quando a vida vem de novo.
And this is what we can give to everyone.
Isso é o que a gente pode dar a todo mundo.
So we need to figure out who can he go with. Okay. So and just keep going. Breakthrough. If you need to have one of your friends with you, you can also take them with you. Are you going with them?
I have a telephone. Yeah, I can. It's up to you. Like.
Well, I don't know what Robert. I don't know what I agree with Robert. To Robert, do he go with him? Okay, you go.
Yes.
Go now. Okay.
Great.
Okay, now this morning, a lady was healed in a very crazy, powerful way from Parkinson, of 13 years Parkinson. And she's been free ever since the meeting was amazing. But now when she was coming back for the evening meeting, she got cramps all over her body. So she's now in a hotel and we're going to pray for her to get the thing out.
Satan is a liar. So we have sent Fabian to the hotel now to pray for her.
este espíritu de culpa y salga en el nombre de Jesús. Toda acusación la rompo en el nombre de Jesús. Rompo toda acusación ahora, todo espíritu mentiroso, te ordeno, sal ahora en el nombre de Jesús. Ordeno que toda mentira pare ahora en el nombre de Jesús. Satanás, cierra tu boca y sal ahora de esta vida en el nombre de Jesús. Hola, rakasa, terere, mamashata, raba, basando, lororobosando. Espíritu de confusión, te ordeno, sal ahora de esta vida en el nombre de Jesús. Todo dolor, te ordeno que pares en el nombre de Jesús. Libertad de estas piernas en el nombre de Jesús. Libertad en el nombre de Jesús. Libertad en el nombre de Jesús.
This is the 4th day of the 7 days adventure, the first day of Kickstart, and a lot of things happened today. It was so beautiful. What I just want to do an update here, so many people got set free and met God, and we love it. The woman with the Parkinson who got set free today, it was so beautiful. It was amazing. And she was walking the whole afternoon, and it was a beautiful testimony we want to share with the whole world. But then the fight came in, because then we heard that on the way to the meeting tonight, suddenly she starts to feel attacking her body. And she starts to feel it again. So we sent Fabian there to pray for her, and we want her to be free. We want this testimony to come out in the world, because it's so unique, it's so strong. So Fabian went there to pray for her tonight, but she didn't get set free yet. And of course it take the joy away and frustrate. But frustrate us, and of course for her. But there's a new day tomorrow, and she's getting baptized tomorrow, and we really want her to be free. So yeah, so that is our focus right now. But many other people got set free, and a lot of things happen. But it's just frustrated sometimes when Satan come in and try to steal the testimony. We don't like that. But now I need to sleep. So good night. Live.
Fala a vida pra você.
Okay, we're going to be ready now. It's Saturday. Talk about the gospel, repent, baptism, water, Holy Spirit. I'm going to take one lesson, talk about that, and then I'm going to share the gospel, and then we're going to send people out on the street, and then we're going to meet and do the baptism. I met God 20 years ago. I came to Okay. What we want to do here is that we want to start with a baptism. So, and we baptize not to our organization, but to a person, Jesus Christ.
E a gente não batiza para uma organização, a gente batiza para Jesus.
Glória a Deus, glória a Deus.
Are you ready?
Tá pronta?
But you bend down and we take you down.
Você, como ficar pra baixo, a gente vai botar
So are you ready on your own faith
pronta na sua própria fé.
to get baptized to Jesus Christ? Okay. So we baptize. Just go down.
Só vai pra baixo, né?
Kneel down. Kneel down.
Fica de joelho.
Kneel down. And then go down with the whole body.
Fica
Just
de joelho,
come forwards.
Pode ficar toda...
In the name of Jesus. Go down. Die with Christ. Up with Christ.
Hallelujah.
Shila ba da 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 sala ba da 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 go right now. Go right now. Go. Freedom. Ba da da ga sala ba da da ga sala. Every lie, spirit, go right now. Every
addiction, every guilt, every shame. Go right now. Leave it. Come on. Go. Go right now. You feel a fight?
Sentindo uma luta? I think so.
Anything you need freedom for, otherwise people need to forgive.
Você precisa de liberdade, libertação para alguma coisa, perdoar mais alguém, perdoar alguém vai perdoar.
Are you ready to forgive yourself?
Você está pronto para se perdoar?
But Jesus wants to forgive you.
Jesus quer te perdoar.
If he wants to forgive
Se
you,
ele quer te perdoar,
who are you
quem é você
to not
para não
forgive yourself?
pra não se perdoar? Se ele quer te perdoar, quem é você para não se perdoar? Está pronta para se perdoar? Para seguir em frente? She's ready.
So kneel down. Die with Christ, die with Christ. You love her, God. There's freedom. There's freedom, my daughter. There's forgiveness, my daughter. There's forgiveness. Let go. Let go. Let go of the whole thing. Let go of all this shame. Let go of all that guilt. You are free. You're free. Baptism is really beautiful.
O batismo é realmente bonito.
When people confess something
Quando as pessoas confessam
they had not confessed before
que nunca tinham confessado
and
antes
let go of something
e deixa sair alguma coisa
they had never done before.
que nunca fizeram antes.
And this is what is happening now.
E é isso que está acontecendo
There
agora.
was things
Havia coisas
and then I said something.
e eu disse alguma coisa.
I said,
Eu disse,
can you forgive yourself?
você pode se perdoar.
And that was when she broke down.
E foi aí que ela se quebrantou.
For that was her problem.
Porque esse era o problema dela.
To forgive herself.
Para se perdoar.
To let go.
Deixar ir.
And then I said,
Aí eu disse,
are you greater than the God?
você é maior do que Deus é.
If Jesus paid the price to forgive you,
Se Jesus pagou o preço para te
if
perdoar.
God wants to forgive you,
Se Deus quer te perdoar.
who are we
Quem somos nós?
to not want to forgive ourselves?
Para não querer nos perdoar.
And I asked, are you ready to forgive?
E eu perguntei, você está pronta para se perdoar?
Yeah.
Ela disse sim.
When sorrow becomes joy, sadness is gone, shame is gone, unforgiveness is gone, and then the joy is coming. Then the Holy Spirit is coming. And this is what I love. And again, every baptism is different. This is a new life. And God, He knows what people need. And what you see here is that when people come out of water, we take good time to just pray for them. Don't be in a hurry. Don't just say, okay, and then go. Take the time to pray. Has he got tongues?
Yeah, she got tongues.
Hallelujah! One more. Who was waiting to get baptized? Yeah, I'll wait. Die with Christ, Christ with Christ.
How old is she? Die with Christ. Rise up with Christ. Hallelujah.
So beautiful, so many things is happening. People all over the place is getting set free from demons, speaking tongues, people are getting baptized, life is getting changed, and it's sometimes a war zone. It seems like a war zone. At the same time, it's beautiful worship. What is worship? Worship not just to do in a church. Worship is the cry of people receiving the Holy Spirit. I like to hear that. Worship is when demons are screaming and letting go, and people are crying of joy. And this is what we do. This is what we do with the Kickstart weekend, and all over the place. And it's the same all over because it's the gospel. It's the gospel, and you can see the Spirit just working, and it's beautiful. Your future. These are our future. This is what we are called to do.
É isso que nós somos chamados para fazer.
Okay, what we do now?
O que nós fazemos agora?
I will say, let's sing a song.
Eu digo, vamos cantar uma música.
Príncipe da paz, seu nome é maravilhoso conselheiro. Ele é príncipe da paz, seu nome é maravilhoso conselheiro. Não cansamos de declarar seu nome, Senhor. Ele é príncipe da paz, seu nome é
Many of those big churches will disappear overnight. That day persecution will set in. When Mao in China started to persecute the church in China, what happened? 80% fall away. But no, 80% did not fall away. The persecution just revealed that 80% was ground number 2. And what happened? When they were gone, there was a small group left who were truly disciples. And out of that group, China got changed. We need persecution, guys. Because the truth is, if we really want to serve God, we will experience persecution. But it's easy to get persecution to stop. Just do one thing. Remember this one word. If you do this one thing, I guarantee you, persecution will stop and you will get an easy life. That one thing, compromise. The Bible is saying, seek first the kingdom of God and do His will, and then the rest will be added to you. We start with the rest. We start with all our things. And we often say, look at me, I'm blessed. I have a house, I have a car, I have a good life. But the truth is, you have what you have because you have worked for it. The same as your neighbor. Why do your neighbor who don't believe in God have the same you have if it's a blessing from God? Nobody, just before they're going to die, is laying in the deathbed and are going to stop up, look back at their life and say, why did I not get a bigger car when I had the chance? Or say, why did I not work some more hours on my job when I could have done that? But many people, also in this room, is going to look back and regret that you didn't do something crazy for God. That you are focused on many other things. That you are focused on what other people will think. Instead of just packing your bag, packing your suitcase and go out. The woman with Parkinson.
Yeah, what happened?
We wanted to do a video this morning.
Yeah.
Because he had not got healed.
Yes.
Then her daughter took me in, and she's like, look at me, the reason I have this dress on, it's a beautiful dress with colors. It's because I have so much light and color inside my soul.
Oh, wow.
Jesus set me free. I've got the Holy Spirit. My sister got the Holy Spirit, and my mother got healed. And the mother stood up and she said, look here. How are you? Hallelujah. Where God is doing, I just want to say, where there been a fight here with a woman with Parkinson. This is her daughter. This is her daughter's sister. She's changed. She completes her speaking tongues. God is healing. God is doing amazing things. She have a little less, but she stood like this.
Wow.
I'm free, and she said, I have got faith to pray, and I believe in deliverance now, and we're going to continue with my mom, and Lars is going to go.
Nice.
So that's
awesome.
good. It was good, and the mom, she was like,
wow.
Everybody was clapping, and she stood there.
Two guys from Spanish pray for me, and I feel my intestine begin by inside.
De dentro pra fora?
And when I came in home, I put a glass of milk and drank. And I don't feel nothing.
But you have here, he's with us. He has been driving us last day. You are a doctor, or what?
Yeah.
He's a doctor, and he really got touched by the teaching that go in, if you find a person peace, go into the house, eat and drink whatever they serve. But he could not eat whatever people serve because he have allergy with gluten and other things. But then he got prayed for, he felt something moved in his stomach, and now he's free. Yeah! Hallelujah. So now you can go out there, eat everything. And what is beautiful is not those people we have been with. Of course, there's many other testimonies we don't hear, but like her and her whole family we stayed with, him who drove us free. So people we know, they just got set free. And those people we don't know, they have also just got set free and healed, but we don't know them. So many things have happened we are not aware of. And I think that when I asked today how many have received the Holy Spirit, I don't know if there was 60, 70 people who have received the Holy Spirit last 2 days, spoken tongues. How many have got healed or got set free? And it was like 80, 90%. They've been beautiful. They've been really been beautiful. Yes, hi. Oh, okay, say hi.
You go here.
You are?
Torben. We put in there.
It's not so easy to keep all the things working out with the company, the enterprise. We working around 12 hours a day.
Okay. But we all need to see God and do what He's saying. I had a job some years where I worked a lot, but when I worked so much, I didn't have time to really serve God. So at one time God stopped me, and I stopped, and I started to serve Him. And then I saw how God provided the money in another way. God took care of the needs. It's easy to come into a life where we just work and don't have time to serve Him. And we have to be careful of that.
I think you will have not so much time to make things tomorrow, because if you have to stay in the airport at 8.
Yeah, we only have 5 hours, but that is fine for us. We can do a lot in 5 hours. Okay, where we are eating breakfast here at the hotel in Sao Paulo, where we're going to go out on the street on this last day of our adventure with God. And there came a family here, he's very sick. We are praying for him. He has been sick for years, but the whole family came. One who's watching after her got set free and now standing and speaking in tongues. He just received the Holy Spirit. The mom experienced freedom and deliverance and there. So everybody is meeting God and we are praying there. And we want to see a breakthrough there. And this is what I love, that we can do that over breakfast. Close your eyes. Just pray after me. God, I love you. I believe in you. I forgive my friends, my family, those people who have hurt me. I love you. I ask you, come with your Holy Spirit, fill me up, heal my body right now. Freedom. Freedom right now. Right now. Right now. Right now. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go of this hurt. Let go of this hurt. Oh, Jesus, we thank you. Oh, Jesus, we thank you, Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, come. There's freedom. There's freedom right now. There's freedom right now, my daughter. There's freedom right now. Do you know about this? You believe in Jesus. Do you speak in tongues?
Well, I smoke a cigarette. I do some wrong things,
Yeah.
so I'm a little kind of lost my way with this.
Do you want to repent? You need to repent. Do you speak in tongues? No. Come here. Can I pray for you? Close your eyes. Just pray, God.
God,
I ask forgiveness.
I ask forgiveness.
I have sinned.
I have sinned.
I repent.
I repent.
And I ask you,
And I ask you,
forgive me.
forgive me, God.
Come, Jesus.
Come, Jesus.
Save me.
Save me.
Come with your Holy Spirit.
Come, the Holy Spirit.
Fill me up.
Fill me up.
Baptize me.
Baptize me.
Right now.
Right.
Go right now. Go right now. Command His Spirit. I command His Spirit rebellious, fear. Go right now. Leave him. Just speak in tongues. Just speak in tongues. Just lay hands on him. Just pray. Come on, guys. It's amazing. God is just here. The one there, he just worked here. We didn't even preach the gospel to him, but when he saw what happened, when he saw the Holy Spirit work like this, when people got healed and set free, he came. Like, I ask forgiveness. I have smoked. I have sinned. And I ask forgiveness. I need Jesus. And we just prayed, and now he's speaking in tongues. Come on, this is what we need to see. We need to see the power of God, because the power of God convinces people of their sin. Of course, they need to hear the gospel, but if they have heard the gospel, and then see the power of God, the words they have heard become alive. And this is what not only preaching, not only power, priest and power together. Healing, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, the word became alive.
Then I cry, I pray every day. And now I don't know, so...
When have you been baptized?
I never been baptized.
No. And do you know what that is? That is, in the Bible, you see that the Israelites in the Old Testament, they came out of Egypt.
But then the old life, Egypt, came after them to try to take them back. But they needed to do something to be free from that old life that would try to take them back. And what was that? They needed to be baptized. They need to go through the Red Sea. Because when they came out on the other side, the old life was gone.
Yeah, I am totally organized. I am so organized all over the world. But I have a problem. I need a battery from my megaphone.
Hey guys, I recognize some of you. We try to go around and see if we can find a place there's a little more people and a little more shadow. Let's go to 30 years got set free. And any day things that happen. 7 days of into the door.
E o mais doido foi essa manhã.
Well, let's just take over here. Okay, good morning everyone.
Bom dia todo mundo.
There is some shadow here and here.
Tem pouquinho de sombra aqui.
We have no idea what is going to happen now.
A gente não faz ideia do que vai acontecer aqui.
But we are going to see amazing things.
Mas vamos ver coisas incríveis.
What we have a plan is that we have a church where we can go and baptize.
O plano é que a gente tenha uma igreja onde a gente vai poder batizar as pessoas.
Around 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Por volta de 2:30, 3 horas.
We have to leave from here to the airport at 4 o'clock.
A gente tem que sair daqui às 4 horas para o aeroporto.
And we don't want to be late this time.
Não queremos nos atrasar dessa vez.
So what we will do
O que a gente vai fazer?
is have no idea.
Eu não tenho ideia.
No, but let's just start to pray for people here
Vamos começar a orar pelas pessoas que estão aqui
who
mesmo.
want prayer.
Que querem oração.
And then when we pray for each other and there we can go out and find other people.
Mas vamos começar aqui.
What is happening with you right now?
Meu corpo cheio. Sentindo o poder do Senhor. She's feeling the power of the Lord and she's really happy.
You speak in tongues?
Você fala em línguas? Sim.
Just close your eyes.
Feche seus olhos.
Just say, God, thank you.
Deus, te agradeço.
Eu te agradeço.
Come with your Holy
Venha
Spirit.
com seu Espírito Santo.
Venha com seu Espírito.
Freedom.
Liberdade.
Liberdade.
Set me free.
Me liberte.
Me liberte.
Come with your Holy Spirit.
Venha com seu Espírito
Venha com
Santo.
seu Espírito Santo.
Your joy.
Sua alegria.
Sua alegria.
Your freedom.
Sua libertação.
Right now.
Agora mesmo.
Go. Go. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Shilla da 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 da.
To their houses and we lead a group to evangelism on the street, and we just you pray for us and we read something from God for us.
Okay.
Just prophesy.
You speak in tongues?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Do you need freedom in other areas?
Não. Você precisa de libertação em alguma coisa?
Well, you hold each other's hand. Close your eyes and just pray.
Ora comigo.
God,
Deus,
we love you.
A gente te ama.
a gente te ama.
I want to serve you.
Queremos te servir.
Nós queremos te servir.
Ask you.
Eu te peço.
Nós te pedimos.
Set me free
Me
Nos,
liberte
nos faz livres
from every spirit of fear,
por todo medo,
tradition.
de toda tradição.
de toda tradição.
Come with your Holy Spirit.
Vem com seu Espírito Santo.
Set us free
Nos faz livre.
right now.
Agora.
Go. Come on. Come out! Come out! Come out right now! Command you, wrong spirit. Go right now! Come out right now in the name of Jesus. I command you, spirit, leave her. Leave him right now. You wrong spirit. Go right now. You religious spirit. I command you, leave her. Leave him. Come out! Come out right now in the name of Jesus. Come out right now. Leave him. Come out. Go. Go. Come out. I command you, religious spirit. I command you, leave them. 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 Come out. Come out. You leave them. Leave them. Come out right now. I command you, spirit, religious spirit. Come out. There are many of those manifestations. This is not the Holy Spirit. This is demonic. And often we worship it as it's the Holy Spirit, but it's demonic. It's demonic spirit that crept into the church and they have to go. Go! Come out. Come out right now. Do you speak in tongues? You don't speak in tongues. Not now, but you're going to. Come with the Holy Spirit. Fill me up. Baptize me. Right now.
Agora mesmo.
Set him free. I command this demon leaver, come out! Demon go. Demon go. This is demonic. The first thing is demonic. But you have to go now, because the Holy Spirit is there. Oh, God. I want to serve you.
Eu quero te servir. Eu quero te servir.
I ask you.
Eu te peço. Eu te peço.
Set me free.
Me liberte. Me liberte.
Come with your Holy Spirit.
Vem com o seu Espírito Santo. Vem com o seu Espírito
Fill me up.
Me enche. Me enche.
Right now.
Agora mesmo.
Go. Freedom. 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 Freedom from man. Freedom from man. Freedom. Freedom from control. Freedom from control. Freedom from control of people. Control from people. Control from people. Control from people. It's not what people think. It's not what people say. It's what God thinks. It's what God says. It's all about Him. It's not about you. It's not about you. And you have been learning this. You have been learning this. You have been learning this. But there's more. There's more. Don't hold back. And there's people now. There's people now who say they love the truth, but they will turn against you. They will not follow you. They will not follow you into the new thing. They will not follow you into what God He wants you to go. But don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Because those people you're going to lose. But other people you will win. Other people you will win. And it's not about the numbers. It's about the kingdom. It's about the numbers in heaven. It's about every sinner who repent. Every sinner who repent is so much more than 99 who do not need repentance. Than 99 who do not want it. Who do not want it. Who do not want it. And God has let things happen not because of you, but because of Him. Not because of you, but because of Him. It's all Him. It's all Him. And He has been preparing you to take this out. To take this out. To take this out. Oh God, we ask forgiveness for maybe compromise. We ask forgiveness for maybe fear. And we speak life, God. Life, life, life to Brazil. Life to Brazil. Life to Brazil. Life, God, a new movement. A new movement. A new movement, God. You are doing it. You are doing it. You are rising people up. You are doing it in Brazil. And this is going to go all over the world. This is going to go all over Brazil. And it's happening right now. It's happening right now that you are calling people and you are sitting people together. You are rising up your army, God. And you are doing it. And you are pouring up your Holy Spirit over all flesh, over everyone, over man, over woman, over old people, over young people. And we are all called to follow you, Jesus. Just go and pray. Do you speak in tongues? Okay. I want to live for you. I don't want to think what other people think of me. I don't want to care about that. I want to care what you think. It's all about you, Jesus. And ask forgiveness that I've been thinking of other people and not you. I want to be free. I want to serve you, Jesus. I want to experience your love. God, guys, this is so strong. Every day on this 7 days adventure with God, it just becomes stronger and stronger and stronger because we live in it. We had not had a break. We had just been living in this. And given it should be given to you. It will flow out like living water. We have been serving, we have been giving, we have been laying hands on people. And because of that, it just becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And now it's like the Holy Spirit just falling here out on the street. It's like just out here, and word of knowledge is like crazy. You just see people and you just see things, you just speak truth. And you just stand there and the presence of God is just falling on people and people getting set free and speaking tongues. And it's like all over the place, and it's so beautiful. And I believe this is what God also wants to show you with this movie, the 7 days adventure with God,
that we need to take the first step. Now it's just being told we need to take the first step and start doing it with what we have. We have it all, but when we do, it will flow out through us like living water. And it will be easier and easier to hear the voice of God, to pray, to discern what demons, what spirit there is, and just do it because we walk in it. We walk in it daily. So this is a little for the last day of this, but it's never going to end. This shall never end. This shall never end. When you have tasted this life, when you have experienced this real life, you don't want anything else. But it's not about having a big house or car. This is so real. If people can just get it, that this is what it's all about. The Holy Spirit, the presence of God. Oh, Jesus. Thank you, I want this. Thank you, Jesus, I want this, I want this. I really have this is the taste of what we are coming into. When we just do it and keep doing it, it will just become stronger and stronger and stronger. It's like the presence of God, the Holy Spirit is just working.
Just growing so much.
This is going to explode all over the world. It is exploding, but in a new way. What happened with you?
O que aconteceu com você?
How do you feel?
Como você se sente? I'm free.
Hallelujah.
Eu sou livre.
Just kneel down. And then, okay, you just do the next ready. You just go down there. So are you ready? You ask her, are you ready to get baptized to Jesus? And you just take her down. Okay. Down. We baptize to Christ. Up. God, we thank you, all shame go. Freedom, you are joy, you are freedom in the name of Jesus. We're in the airport now in Sao Paulo on the way home after 7 days adventure with God. And it really has been an adventure. And every day have been stronger and stronger. And I think we will go home changed. Not only those people we met have met God, but we have met God.
Yeah, it was just once I thought I had seen it all, but now I just feel so little. There's so much more to see. So much more to do, so a lot of work to do. So,
love it?
Yeah. Yes, it was a real adventure.
So we'll go home now and then the adventure will start because this is alive for everyone. They will start another place. So I hope you love the movie. God bless you out all there. See the Pioneer School, see the lessons, follow us, come to a Kickstarter weekend and let's live this adventure together.
Bye.